Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Chase Thomas podcast from still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Joining me from FANRUN Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville. You see the great background behind him. Co-worker now of mine. First time on the program since we are bookending our shows with one another in the afternoon here in East Tennessee, with the Chase from 1 to 3 and the drive from 3 to 6. All the car talk over there on the drive and the Chase, as you might expect. Russell Smith is here. Russell, thank you for doing this after doing the show today. Like you jumping from one show to the next, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I feel like I just saw you.
You did just see me.
Yes, I did.
So I have a question for you, Russell. This is something now that we've been working together for 2 weeks, and I just saw your water bottle pop up.
Uh-huh.
How many different color Nalgene water bottles do you have? Because that is a different color. I have at least seen 3 different color water bottles from you in the last 2 weeks.
You're very observant. Nobody's ever asked me about this. So I got these are the Nalgene bottles,
yes.
Right? These are indestructible, supposedly. Like you can run over the card stuff. And I've got a red one. I've got 2 green ones. I've got a black one. So that's 4. And then like an off green one, which is my favorite. How lame is that? My favorite Nalgene bottle. So I guess I've got 5, and I try and wash them out because I'm a germaphobe like that. I don't.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way.
I'll use a glass. I'll have like 1 glass of water, and then I'll like put it in the dishwasher. And my wife's like, "Why don't you just have more? What you're going to get another one?" I'm like, I don't know. It's got like the lip gunk all over it now and everything.
I can't even like wash out the coffee mug and reuse it the next day. I think my dad does that. And I'm like, no, I have to wash the coffee mug every day. I am right there with you.
In the dishwasher.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're like Jerry Seinfeld over here. We have we're just
hand washing something. What is this? 1922, the Oregon Trail? No, I've got electronics for all that.
I'm not going out to dysentery, Russell Smith. That's not how I'm going out.
No, absolutely not.
I'm glad I'm not crazy, because you pulled up the red one there, and I was like, I know I've seen like 4 different colors over in the last 2 weeks. I'm like, I'm not losing it.
Yeah, you want to hear something else crazy? Is I oftentimes will Nalgene bottle coordinate. Now that the show is on video, right?
Yes.
I have actually had this thought before as I'm getting my water before I leave the house. Is like if Tennessee is playing Arkansas or Alabama or Georgia or another red team, I'm like, I probably shouldn't take, especially for voluntary reaction, I probably shouldn't take the red bottle, because somebody is going to say, oh, he's a Georgia fan. He's got his Georgia water bottle on there. And now that I say it out loud, it sounds crazy and stupid, and that would probably never happen.
Yeah.
But that's a thought that goes through my mind as I'm leaving the house sometimes.
I thought you were going to say, like, your record with each water bottle, like that week, like, No,
it's not that. We're up to 5 of them now. And some, like, remember the first time I got one, I think my wife got it for me. I'm like, this is kind of silly. Like, I'll never use this. And now I use them every day. 32 ounces, baby.
Look, man, I got that one, and I got the Yeti. I do the big boy Yeti.
I don't have a big Yeti, but those seem popular. People, you've got one. John Reed has one. Baskerville is a big Yeti guy. Maybe that's
I like both. That's
the evolution.
Well, what I'll tell you, the big gulps of the Nalgenes can be a little overwhelming, Russell. Like, you can sometimes because I don't like the small mouth ones, and I'm
I've had a couple of accidents where I'm sitting there on the show and I realize I've just poured water on myself. I'm like, hope nobody saw that.
This is why I don't do it all the time anymore. I'm glad you said this, because I felt like this is pretty silly that I can't handle this. But I have had many instances of those water bottles like spilling all over me, and you feel like a doofus. It's great. You get a big swig. It's great when you need a big swig, but it can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, you got to know how to handle it, man. I did see Tony Vitello carries the same style Nalgene, like in the dugout. I noticed that a couple of years ago, and it was the Leo GIF pointing. Yes, that's my bottle.
Have you asked him about it?
I haven't, but I should.
Yeah, we need to get in this is a new story here. Get Mike Wilson on it.
the power of the Nalgene bottle. You must stay hydrated. It's critical.
Yeah, got to stay hydrated. Goodness, we're washed. We're absolutely both just absolutely washed here, Russell Smith. But Russell, as you can see, this is a very free-flowing conversation here on the podcast, and I wanted to kind of pick your brain on some Tennessee football stuff. This is something I led the show with today, Russell, that I'm curious from where you stand on this, because I think I have two schools of thought on this one. One is when it comes to the lack of buzz around Tennessee football here for 2025 here on June 12th. I've thought about that a little bit this summer of, hey, we're not really talking about it, and football is back in 2.5 months. And I have a lot of Georgia fans back home who are just chomping at the bit. Like they're ready to go. They're so fired up about the year. Bama fans are fired up. You can see online, like certain fan bases are really, really revving up right now for the year. And it doesn't feel like Tennessee fans, I think by and large, are as rowdy and excited and as confident as they've been in years past. Because even though 2023 did not go the way I think a lot of us had hoped preseason, Joe Milton, third year in the system. There was a lot of, remember Milton and Keaton and Times Square together. There was a lot of optimism where it's like, oh, Bazooka Joe, like Heisman candidate potential. Let's see here. Like there was a lot of optimism about what the offense was going to look like before the season in 23. This year, I just feel like there's just so much unknown with this team to a lot of people that I just kind of wonder if fans are overthinking it. But then the other part of it to me is like, I just wonder if it's just Tennessee baseball is so big here now that fans have just been so locked in on Vols baseball every day. And before that, Rick Barnes basketball. And I mean, the Nate Ament sweepstakes and where the basketball team is right now, that it's not just a football only school anymore. That's not what drives the ship like it did 10 to 15 years ago. And I wonder if it's that, or it's just, what if Nico is around? Do we have a lot more buzz right now if Nico is still in the boat and we're talking more about Tennessee football? More people are more excited about where things are headed in mid-June. I don't know. What say you?
I think all those things contribute to a seeming lack of I don't want to even say interest, man. When we get to August, people are going to talk themselves into it. We're going to get excited about football. I think it's a lot of the things you just said. We're coming off baseball. We didn't win it all. Remember last year, like for what I do, like we rode that wave of winning the national championship for over a month, maybe 6 weeks. We rode it right into football season. There was no off season. It was great from a sports radio standpoint. So you didn't win it this year. People kind of like, I don't want to say it's disappointing, but it was kind of a disappointing end to the season for baseball. And I think folks are just, it's been a long year, man. It was a long football season that was very successful and culminated in a bad loss in the playoff. It was a long basketball season that was a really good season, but culminated in a disappointing loss in the Elite Eight. And it was a long baseball season that was really good, but culminated in a bad loss, not very competitive against Arkansas down there. So I think fans need a break, man. I think we all just need a break. But I think people are going to come back to the football program. I definitely think the Nico thing left a bad taste in a lot of fans' mouths. I think that's going to be tough for some people to get over. And then the other thing, I think that, Josh Heupel is just not a big promoter of his program. He's a quiet guy. He doesn't do a lot of interviews. Even when he does, he's not good for a juicy quote or anything like that. So, I mean, look, like the ticket sales are high. We're going to be sold out and all that stuff. I don't know. Like if you're Danny White, do you encourage Josh Heupel to maybe get out there and promote the program a little bit? Do you need to do that as long as the tickets are sold and we're all going to tune in on game day and watch on TV? Does it even matter? I'm not sure, but I do think that fans will be back. I just think that they're taking a little break right now. They're taking a little break, but you know what? Those magazines are on the stands right now. We're going down to SEC Media Days here in a couple of weeks. It'll ramp back up.
Yeah, I think it will. And I think Heupel doing the circuit will help. I do think to your point, I think there was exhaustion. And I think the Nico stuff, you had that rallying cry for the spring game and the orange and white game. And then it was like, okay, football can go away for a while. That's too much excitement. I think fans were like, that's enough. Like, I need to step back here. Like that's enough. I've had too much excitement here for a while. Let me recalibrate. Now, I will say, fans are, in my opinion, way too low on Tennessee fans, I think, right now, or on Tennessee football right now. And I think part of that, as my dog is just very much agreeing with me as she's scraping the ground floor here below to make a spot to sit down. Can you hear that, Russell?
A little bit, yeah.
That's incredible. Just great stuff. She thinks she's digging off
something. That's okay.
Fantastic stuff. We're leaving all this in. That's what a great part of a podcast is. It's just this dog's lost her mind. Shout out to Khaleesi the dog. So, Russell, I just look at it in terms of this is incredible stuff. All right, Khaleesi. Good God. Okay, we're keeping it moving.
Are you a Game of Thrones fan?
Yes, big Game of Thrones fan.
Oh, all right. You fit in at FANRUN Radio so well.
I'm glad we're all on the same page. Have you watched Shogun, by the way?
No.
Shogun is like the Japanese version of Game of Thrones on Hulu. My wife and I are midway through season 1. There's only one season. It's like 10 episodes. It's an hour a piece. Okay. Russell, if you love Game of Thrones, Shogun is the next best thing while you're waiting on House of Dragon. It's so good.
Gratuitous sex and violence that we all crave.
The violence part of it is definitely there. There is both. Like I don't want to spoil anything, but if you like Game of Thrones, then you will like Shogun.
All right, I'm putting it on the list. Shogun. Sounds
Shogun.
Good.
It's so good. Which naturally brings us back. But yes, Khaleesi the dog, named after after Daenerys, obviously. So very Targaryen like, and if you saw her, you'd like, yeah, that checks out. Mascot of the Chase Thomas podcast. But Russell, bringing it all the way back here on this program.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about Tennessee football and why folks were discounting this team. I am bullish on Tennessee. I don't know if you're the same way right now. And it's not even bullish because I believe in the quarterback spot right now. I'm a big Jake Merkinger guy. I'm not a Joey Agalar guy. I don't think Joey Agalar is going to be the starter long term for Tennessee.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, my belief is like after the Georgia game, that's probably where the transition happens, is where it's like, oh, this is not going well. I don't think Joey Agalar will be key. Like if that happens in the December window, Nico departs in December and all, or January, if that all happens, then Joey Agalar is not one of the first 5 calls, first 10 calls, first 20 calls. In my estimation, the interceptions scare me. Led FBS last year. That was one of the things that people miss is like that was supposed to be a preseason G5 representative in the college football playoff last year. That was a good team that was returning a lot of talent, and it got a coach fired. Like that offense and everything falling apart for App State got Sean Clark fired. So there's a lot that's been overlooked in terms of how last year went from, and especially 23 to 24 for Joey Agalar. So I'm just not really a believer. It's nothing against the kid personally. It's just I don't think it's a good fit for Tennessee. And I don't think he has the skill set that's going to, especially within 2.5 months, is going to be able to get on the same page and run the kind of offense that Heupel and company are going to want to run. And he's just behind. Like Jake Merklinger's been in the system for 1.5 years. I think he's more of a natural leader. Like talking to Rusty Manziel on 3 last week on our show, he's bullish on him. Super competitive kid, good leader. He's throwing with Mike and Braylon and Travis in May, taking time to like really mesh with these guys. I would not be surprised. He threw a bunch of balls his junior and senior year at Calvary Day in Savannah. I'm still very bullish on Jake Merklinger, and I think he's going to end up starting the most amount of games for Tennessee this year. But I think Heupel deserves credit for how quarterback proof his tenure at Tennessee has been. Is you've had below average quarterback play the last 2 years. You won 19 games. You won 30 games in the last 3 years. And if the 12-team playoff existed in 22, you have 2 playoff appearances in 4 years. Like you're going every other year. And half of those years, it's not even good quarterback play. The passing game has been pretty substandard by and large. The defense is going to be really good again. Tim Banks, who I want to pick your brain on here in a second, just keeps hiring big time guys and just keeping like he's just another veteran, another great veteran. Let's just bring him in. Let's just have the most stacked defensive staff in all of the SEC. It's just great stuff from Coach Banks. I just think people are overthinking this group. I think Tennessee has a very high floor. I think the defense is going to be really good again. I think the offensive line is going to be just fine. I think they're going to be able to run the ball just fine. I mean, I think the tight ends, most talented you've had, the tight end room in the Heupel era to this point, they can stay healthy with Davis and Kitzelman. That combination should be really good. I mean, if you're able to get the 2021 production from Staley, Matthews, and Brazel that you got from when you only played 3 guys with Felix Jones, Cedric Tillman, and Javonte Payton 21, and they are all able to stay healthy, you're fine at receiver too. I mean, you're an injury away from playing true freshmen a whole lot of snaps, but there is a case and there is a scenario where they don't get banged up as young guys and they're okay for the full year. So I just think people are overthinking it. Like, I don't know about you, but I just think there should be more upside and more optimism about Tennessee. Like FPI, the numbers love them. Like they're a top 10 FPI team. Like I think fans are really overthinking the Nico departure and where things stand with Tennessee football.
I agree with your overall assessment that the fan base is a little bit too pessimistic right now about the upcoming season. I'm shocked to find out. I did not know your position on Merkinger and Aguilar. You and Bear, my producer, are singing from the same songbook. He's Team Merk as well. I don't have a preference. I just fan. I want the guy who is going to run the offense the best and score the most points and win the most games. My gut feeling is that's Aguilar because like we brought him in, and like I don't think he would come here to ride the bench. I like what I hear about Merkinger. I love what I hear about McIntyre. I think we've got some talent in that room, and I think that it probably will end up, regardless of who the quarterback is, end up looking a lot like it did last year. And that's weird, right? Because last year was a good year. We went 10-2. We went to the college football playoff, man. Like I would, if you could lock in that right now with another quote unquote lackluster offense and a top 10 defense that goes 10-2, sign me up, man. I'm taking it right now. I think there's a portion of our fan base that just wants to see the fireworks. I get it. I want to see that offense humming like a well-oiled machine going up and down the field again. But man, when you look at the pieces available, I agree with you. I think the front 7 is going to be the strength of this defense. And then if McCoy is able to come back at full strength, secondary shouldn't be a weak link by any stretch of the imagination. So I think, a top 10 defense last year, if we get another one of those, you don't need outstanding quarterback play to get to that 9-10 win plateau. Give me a guy that won't turn the ball over, that gets us in the right play, that we're running the football well again. And who knows if we can get just enough out of the passing game, we should be right there again. So I share your optimism. I just think Josh Heupel is a fine coach, man. And I think that he sees that he's got the defense with Tim Banks. He's got it rolling on that side of the ball. Hopefully someday we do get back to that great offense that we saw in 2022. It just looks like, and I think you might have been able to do that if Nico had stuck around. Like, I think he would have taken a step and developed. I think he would have been better than last year. I don't know if he could have gotten to Hendon Hooker 2022 level, but like he would have been a better player just by virtue of his experience this year. But we'll never know. And so we're back in the kind of the same boat we were last year with an inexperienced QB. But I think Heupel is smart enough to play to his strengths. Run the ball, don't turn it over, let your defense carry you, and we can win 9 or 10 games that way this year, depending on how good that quarterback play is.
I have all the toss-up games. Oklahoma at home, Georgia at home, Bama on the road, Florida on the road. If you only can guarantee one to win next year, Russell Smith, you get one. What's the one guarantee that you take?
The one that I want to win?
That would be the most satisfying to Russell Smith on Saturday.
You give me Oklahoma, Georgia, and Alabama?
And Florida. But you only get one.
Oh, my God. I mean, I think you could make excellent arguments for all of them. My heart, my heart says Georgia. My brain says Florida. Right? If you beat Georgia at home and you start 3-0, 4-0, whatever you are going into the Bama game, like we're going to be at that point, it would be disappointing to lose those other games,
Yeah.
especially against Florida. But losing to Florida just sucks. It always has. And
Especially at Florida, because the way they lose
Yeah.
at Florida is just so much worse than when they lose at home.
Yeah, they rub your face in it. They're not any good. There's a pretty good chance we'll be playing an interim coach down there. You know,
We might disagree here. I think Florida's a playoff team this year.
Oh wow, really? I'm gonna have to.
DJ Lagway, if he's healthy, they're scary, man. 6-1 as a starter. They were leading in the only game he lost when he went out against Georgia. Lagway's. I don't want this to be true, Russell. I hate that this is the case, but DJ Lagway is legit. Like DJ Lagway's, he's a dude.
He's a dude. Anthony Richardson was a dude, and
I think Lagway's and Anthony Richardson was one Hail Mary away from beating Tennessee on in Neyland in 22. I was in that building. That was one of those where Tennessee fans. Were you in the building for that game? I
screamed like a little girl when they recovered that onside kick.
Yes.
And the guy's running with it down the sideline. Like my mind just stopped for a minute, and I didn't realize that you couldn't advance the kick because it's Florida, and Florida makes me crazy. And like I just screamed when I saw him rocketing down the sideline. I was like, "Oh my God, we just lost!" And then like you had to sweat out a couple more plays. Oh, it was terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying.
There was a gator, like a floating gator in our section, second quarter. Fans were just so confident. And there were some Florida fans in our section, and they were just giving them hell, man. Like, just giving them hell. And I'm like, what? Like, this feels insane. Are we in the Twilight Zone? What do you think, y'all? Like, I don't care if Tennessee's up 4 touchdowns going to the half. This game, until it winds down to 0-0 against Florida, the confidence level, no matter what, like, I was a believer in that 22 offense. I was not a believer that until that game got to 0-0-0, that Tennessee was going to win that game until the very end. It felt like you could feel how tense it was getting even last year, like it was getting increasingly tense. And if Graham Mertz doesn't get knocked out of that game, are we sure Tennessee wins that one too? Like, I don't know.
Well, we blew them out in 1990 when I was 10 years old, 45-3. And then we won decisively in a rain game in 92. Other than that, like we have not beaten them decisively in over 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's like all those games are going to go down to the wire. They're not over till they're over. It feels like you have to beat them 3 times. Sometimes there's always bad calls that go against you, just all crazy stuff. So I don't know how anybody in their right mind could sit here and say, yeah, I expect Tennessee to win in the Swamp at the end of the season. But that would probably be the most satisfying one, I think. I would put Oklahoma low down that list. Alabama and Florida would obviously be fun to beat them anytime. It's been a while since we've beaten Georgia. Hard to expect a win at Alabama right now from where I sit. But Florida, just losing to Florida, it sucks, man. It hurts. It's never fun.
Well, and the Florida part might be a double whammy because you would beat Florida and then you're probably a playoff team. You win at Florida, I think Tennessee's in the college football playoff next year. If they win in Gainesville, I think with the way the schedule is set up, they will probably have 2 losses going into the Florida game, is my guess.
Tennessee?
And if you beat Florida, I think Tennessee will have 2 losses going into that game. And if they do, you beat Florida, then you're in. So it's a kind of a play-in game for Tennessee if they were able to do that. And the last time they won in Gainesville was actually in November when the game got moved because of 9/11.
So you're assuming no stub your toe losses to Mississippi State or Arkansas.
Mississippi State is just so much worse than Arkansas was a year ago. I predicted on this podcast. I got so much grief from friend of the program, Jack Foster, Ryan Shumpert, and Ethan Stone, where all summer I was like, Arkansas is the game. Like Tennessee's got a terrible history with Arkansas, not just in baseball, just a terrible history in football. Like we all remember the fumble in the 90s, but that Tennessee, Arkansas, not a lot. It's not the cleanest, like, oh, Tennessee just owns Arkansas in football. And I just didn't like it. Didn't like the spot it was in. Didn't love the feeling there. Taylor Green was the kind of quarterback that gives Tennessee problems in particular. And it was just a disgusting game. Like that was a gross game. And I want to wipe it from my memory, especially just how they were able to control the ball like they're Kentucky the whole first half. And Tennessee, like that was the Tennessee specials when they just cannot get off the field on 3rd and 5. Like just Just brutal
Yeah,
stuff.
Ross running into the kicker and then letting that punt roll that cost us like 20 yards of field position.
Tennessee being so good against the run and then just giving up 2 backbreaking long runs to the true freshman who was like a heavy Tennessee lean before he committed late, Braylon Russell. And those 2 big runs to put them in field goal range are like, oh, this is just twist the knife. This is terrible.
Trouble when the quarterback got hurt and the freshman comes in there. You're like, this just does not feel right.
None of it felt good.
This feels
I'll
bad.
say though, to me, it's Georgia. Like Tennessee beating Georgia early and putting Georgia on the ropes when they still have Texas, Ole Miss, and Alabama all still to go at home at Auburn. That would be so nice because Georgia fans, let me tell you, Russell, as someone who's been in the building and has a lot of Georgia fans in his life, to be able to be like, man, we did it without Nico. Like Tennessee just going over there and just beating Georgia at home it'd be nice. It'd be like it'd be a Star Wars moment, defeating the Death Star, because that's the new Death Star. If you beat Georgia, it'd be nice. I'd feel really good for a while. I don't even care what happens the rest of the year. Tennessee beats Georgia at home, and I get to leave Neyland Stadium with a smile on my face.
So that's yours of the 4 swing games. You're going with the Georgia game.
Yeah, I think I'm going Georgia. Georgia would just be nice. Those fans, they act like they're Alabama now. And it's like Bama got a decade plus of this. And you're just I understand the back-to-back, that's big. Yeah. But I just it's too much confidence. It's too much like we're the best. We run this sport now, and getting upset if someone says Texas is now the leader of the SEC.
Me here. You might be selling me. I might be ready to come over and join you, but it's been a while since we've beaten them. Yeah. Their fans are obnoxious. All the fans are obnoxious, though, man. Like Bama fans are obnoxious. Oklahoma, I'll sit here and say, oh, Oklahoma fans aren't too bad. That wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
Can you imagine those people walking out of our place with the Boomer Sooner chants and all that stuff going on? Oh, man, that would be obnoxious.
Oh, 100%. Final 2 for you. Favorite offseason coaching edition for Vol football for you? Because I think this is an under-talked about part of what Heupel has done this offseason, especially Tim Banks. And I think Heupel deserves credit for even Tim Banks hires, because it's still his staff. Like everyone's still under Heupel, and he's still signing off on these additions. Tennessee has been active on both sides of the ball, beefing up their coaching staff. But do you have a favorite under the radar one that you're like, I think that's going to pay dividends?
I don't know enough about what all these guys bring. I assume you're putting Coach Chop off to the side. You're talking about the analysts.
Well, I will give you Coach Chop because he was an elevated guy. You could have gone outside and hired someone else to coach Leo's, but you believed in Chop to replace Eckler there, and you promoted from within. And by all accounts, he's your best recruiter on staff. So I think he deserves credit for not overthinking Coach Chop right now.
Yeah. I'll tell you the one that I'm hopeful of, and I've heard some good things, is Seth Littrell. Used to be the head coach at North Texas, I believe, and he's steeped in the Heupel spread veer system that they run. And I've heard that he's brought a little element of not afraid to get in somebody's face when you're missing a block, or maybe you're not giving max effort in practice. Maybe a little bit of that Cutcliffe effect, if you remember when David Cutcliffe came back in 2006. And, Tennessee's still running the same system that they were when he left. And Randy Sanders was a fine coach, but maybe a little bit of the discipline had lapsed a little bit in some areas. And I just wonder if maybe Tennessee needs some of that. Maybe that'll clean up some of the penalty, pre-snap penalty issues that we saw, the moving pick situation on the outside that we always saw. Maybe getting some guys in shape, a little bit more attention to detail. I feel like that could help some of the offensive step back that we've seen, which is probably mostly due to quarterback play, but maybe also a little bit of attention to detail. I really like that. And then a close second would be, and I've forgotten the name, but I believe it's Williams, the defensive.
Alan Williams, yeah.
And former defensive coordinator in the NFL. Lots of experience there, and you just wonder if and I saw a quote from Tim Banks basically where he was saying, look, he's already come in there. He's learning our system, but he's also helped us look at a couple of things a different way. Like the easy thing to do when you have a really good year, like Tennessee's defense and Tim Banks had last year, is be like, well, we figured it out.
Yeah.
We don't need to work on it. We don't need to change a thing. But I love the approach of, hey, let's bring in somebody from pro football who we're comfortable with, who can look at our whole operation and a little self-scouting and say, yeah, like you don't need to make any wholesale changes, obviously, but have you thought about this?
Yeah.
Here's some things that they're doing at the next level that are really helpful that maybe we can implement here. You've got a veteran crew back there. So I like some of these guys that they brought in who are hopefully going to make an impact on Tennessee schematically and coaching wise and all that stuff. But you got to have that, man. You got to have that just laundry list of analysts and, quality control guys and grad assistants and all that stuff. I mean, that's the name of the game right now, is having as many eyes on your operation as you can so that you don't miss anything.
I like those two picks. Those are probably my two number ones. I'm curious because Marion Hobby jumped in late, but I think he's going to be a sneaky important addition. I do love all the Vol fans who, and look, I say this with love, but all of them like, oh, we found is this a Rodney Garner replacement? And then Vol fans also doing the age check, and it's like he's the exact same age as Rodney Garner, which is just phenomenal work, where everyone just jumped to, oh, is that the replacement for Rodney Garner? And it's like they're literally the same age. It's just I love stuff like that. But to your point, like they're just self-scouting, and I think the Littrell part of it is important because this offense, the difference between the veteran guys on defense versus offense is pretty jarring, Russell. Like defense, everyone's 45 plus. Like it's Willie Banks, William Inge, Rodney Garner, and I mean it's even Brian John Marie before it. Like he's bringing in vets, and Alan Williams, vet, Marion Hobby, vet. Like he's bringing in just guys who know defense. Tim Banks is like, I don't care. I am bringing in as many high quality veteran guys who can help me continue to be one of the 10 best defensive coordinators in the sport. Heupel's like, we're going young. Like Heupel, like Alex Golesh is the thing that I miss about Alex Golesh is Alex Golesh was like, it seems like the guy who wasn't afraid to get like kind of what you're talking about with Littrell is just kind of being like keeping everybody accountable, like kind of that, just more of a strong authority figure where it's just, you're going to go at a guy. You're going to be like, hey, you got to get, you know what I mean? You just have to, the light a fire kind of guy. Joey Halsley just seems really nice, and he's super young. Kelsey Pope, super young. Derail Sims, all under 40, by the way. Alec Ablin, under 40. Yeah. The only over 40 offensive coach is Glenn Ellerby. That's it.
Do you think this is a big year for Halsley? Like, do you think Heupel would ever make a change there? We know he's super loyal, super slow. But he's not just going to fire guys. But, Hooker walked out that door. And I definitely think that's a bigger deal. Like, I don't think Golesh was the magic sauce or anything for Tennessee. I think that was Hendon Hooker. But the offense hasn't been the same since Golesh left. I mean, you can't deny that. And I don't know, dude. What's your thoughts on Halsley?
I'm also like, Halsley would just be a fall guy. Like, what do you want him to do? Like, he got thrown into a terrible situation this spring now with Nico gone at the last minute, who got all the snaps of the ones. He's adding 5-star after 5-star. You have Faison Brandon coming in. You had a 5-star Nico. George McIntyre was at one time a 5-star. He falls to a 4-star late in the process. But it's like, I mean, what? I don't know. It's like it's Heupel's offense. Like this is not like one of those things where I'm pinpointing Joey Halsley. Like, oh, they're a Halsley firing away from really getting this thing back on track. It's kind of like running back coach where I'm like, Tennessee's average 5 yards a carry every year, light boxes, wide splits. They're going to be okay. Like
offensive line coach too. I mean, like he's the main. Ellerby has always been the lightning rod for the most criticism, I think, of any of Heupel's assistants. And I get it. Like it's weird. It is weird that they have not had any starters that they've recruited. I will concede that point. Like it's very strange that 4 years in, and it looks like David Sanders is going to be a true freshman of all people.
Well, I think he won't be the only one. I think we're going to at least have one other one, whether that's Shamumarov at guard or William Satterwhite at center. Like Sanders will not be the only one. I don't think.
I think it's weird that it's taken this long for that to happen, but who cares? In the age of the portal, like. You've been even last year's offense that is so maligned. I mean, they were 15th in total offense in the nation, 12th in scoring offense, number one rushing offense in the SEC. Like, you don't do that without a really good offensive line. So I think the production has been fine there. The recruiting has been strange, but I'm beginning to think that maybe the recruiting doesn't really matter because of the transfer portal. You just go find guys like a Wendell Moy or Sam Pendleton and plug them in and just keep on rolling.
No, I'm right there with you. Final thing, and I'll get you out of here, Russell. Is Tim Banks now firmly a top 10 DC in your mind? Because he gets courted by Clemson and Miami this offseason. I just feel like fans have got to respect Tim Banks. That's why offseason mission is just like, you want to do that Billy Madison thing where you shake the kid. You're like, stay here for as long as you can. I want to be like, it could be so much worse than Tim Banks. You could have hired, who did Lincoln Riley stick with too long? Alex Grinch, where he put himself in a terrible spot at USC because he took Alex Grinch, who was kind of fading at Oklahoma. He wasn't doing great. It's like Dan Mullen's obsession with Todd Grantham, where you're like, Grantham's just not a great DC. And you're like, Dan Mullen, you're one of the best offensive play callers in the sport. Just hire a better DC. Like, you're really good at that side of the ball. Just hire better. And Heupel hired Tim Banks, and Tim Banks has hired below him extremely well. Like, Tim Banks is a top 10 DC. Enjoy it. Like, I understand he's not perfect, and it can be frustrating sometimes where they don't get a sack and get Carson back on the ground once in the Georgia game where he drops back 40 times. You don't get home once, and you want to blitz more. I understand there are caveats here. Tim Banks is an elite defensive coordinator. It drives me nuts. I'm like, Tim Banks has been the biggest reason you've won 19 games the last 2 years.
I would agree. It's time to put some respect on his name. The one thing I always say on our show is nobody in college football, or probably the NFL for that matter, likes their defensive coordinator. It is just an inherently thankless position. And unless you're Nick Saban or, like Kirby Smart, probably the defensive coordinator is just not a popular guy because, like you said, the rules are shifted towards the offense, and there's scoring in college football, and everybody gives up scores. So if you are finishing around the top 10 or in the top 10 in total defense, just be thankful for what you got. And that's what I was a Tim Banks skeptic. I was like, a guy didn't have much experience or anything. Nobody really knew much about him, and he didn't exactly set the world on fire those first 2 years. Do you just attribute that to the tempo on offense and all that stuff? Yeah, there's some other things that go into it, but what he did last year was fantastic, and I fully expect him to do that again this season. So, yeah, I'm with you. It's time to put some respect on Tim Banks' name, and some respect on Josh Heupel for hiring him, and not just knee jerk. Oh, like you were, 70th, 80th nationally, whatever it was the first 2 years. Fire you, get you out of here. He's let guys develop, and I think that's the sign of a strong leader and a strong program.
I love it. We'll leave it there. Russell, what can the good folks check out from you and the team, our team, over at FANRUN Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville tomorrow? Yeah.
Well, just listen to Chase and then keep listening when he's done, and I'll be there. And we're going to be talking. I've been exchanging some texts with Tony Vitello. We're trying to catch up with him. Mm-hmm. He's busy, as you've probably heard right now, recruiting up a storm. So I'm hoping to get him before I go on vacation the next week. But if not, we'll find some fun folks to talk with and get ready for the weekend. There's a ton going on, man. I love this time of year, especially with all the baseball chatter and trying to rebuild that roster. The basketball talk and the rules changes that are coming there has been a fun talking point this week. And then, as we've been talking today, football always on the forefront of Tennessee fans' minds. Lots of change there. The quarterback stuff, the Tim Banks stuff, it's all fascinating. So we're just breaking it down every day from 3 to 6 on FANRUN Radio.
I love it. Go subscribe and tune in. 13 hours of content each and every day, Monday through Friday. Listen to The Drive with Russell and the Bear and Jace and everybody else, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday. Russell, thank you so much, my friend, for the time, and we'll check back in again soon.
All right, Chase, I'll see you tomorrow at work.
It's so funny.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.